Today on Adventure Guides, we're fishing with some of the most skilled steelhead and trout guides in the West. First, we'll join Mammoth guide Harry Blackburn to learn stillwater midge techniques, nymphing for trophy trout. We'll also meet up with one of the best spey casters in the country, 24-year-old Travis Johnson from Deschutes Angler in Maupin, Oregon. Travis takes us spey casting for wild steelhead and indoctrinates me into the religion of the spey.
I would rather off with 50 grit sandpaper than watch a bog lead down the river. That's how I feel about it.
Join us as I get schools on how to catch some amazing trout and steelhead with some of the world's most accomplished fly fishing guides on today's episode of Adventure Guides Fishing Edition.
Today in Adventure Guides Fishing Edition, we're going to Crowley Lake near Mammoth, California. I'll join former Utah Jazz basketball player Adam Keefe to go fly fishing with one of the most celebrated guides in the Eastern Sierra, Harry Blackburn. A native of Southern California, Harry has come up with one of the most unique and precise ways to fly fish with midges we've ever seen.
Morning, Adam. Harry. John. Harry.
Crowley Lake is the premier fishery in the Mammoth Lakes region. Harry uses an unusual technique named after the primary food source for these fish, insects called midges.
One of my buddies, Mike Peters, and I kind of pioneered this whole method with the midges, the strike indicator. We did it out of float tubes, and then we decided that it's much easier to do it from a boat. With a casting platform, you're elevated, you can see, you're dry, and your clients can kind of enjoy themselves.
Well, I'm excited to get out there and hopefully get into some fish, Adam and I.
I think we'll get some action.
Harry temporarily clips on a small weight to help determine exactly where to place the balloon indicator that acts like a bobber.
Because you're looking to be a foot off the floor?
Yeah, if you've ever watched trout when they're just cruising,
Right.
they'll hover about a foot to 6 inches off the bottom.
Right.
And they just cruise.
Right.
And then when they start feeding, they'll actively ascend and then descend and follow the food. But here, because they're really not actively feeding, we're gonna hold it down near the bottom.
Right.
Oh, I got one.
In all the years of fishing with guides, I have never seen one catch a fish by accident with his hands while measuring the depth for an indicator.
And lining. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what happened here, Harry? You were just showing me the depth.
Threw it down there.
It's proven to me that this is where the fish feed. And what happened? You
All of a sudden,
a trout.
All of a sudden, I felt one on.
Eagle?
I'll just call that lucky. I'd rather be lucky than good.
Oh my gosh, that is just unbelievable.
Here we go.
Let's see that view.
Let me get line in here.
Hand lining on Lake Crowley.
I-
Gotta shake your hand on that one, sorry. That's a first.
I'd rather be lucky than good.
Crowley Lake was created in 1941 as a reservoir for the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. At an altitude of almost 7,000 feet, it rarely freezes over.
Man.
I see there's all this stuff in the lake.
The algae is a good thing for the insects because that's what they feed on. So in terms, the biomass here is tremendous. I mean, it supports a tremendous amount of life. What you want to do is let the system get suspended so it's vertical.
Right.
And then every 20 seconds, just a little bit of a twitch. You can just...
This is really cool.
There, hit.
I've learned a lot. That's a good fish. Well, that technique worked. Pick out line too.
Oh yeah, they are.
They're healthy fish.
That's what everybody comes for.
I mean, it's just like a healthy fish. Woo!
I mean, if you get a
What a fun technique.
the great thing is if you bring a family out here, they can all participate.
Just a healthy little football. They really fight, those cameras.
Oh yeah, they're
That was sweet.
they're strong.
Hey, he bumped it like once and then boom.
Took it, yeah.
Down. Very nice.
All right, buddy. Thanks for the action.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was awesome.
While Harry likes to think of it as good luck, it is plain to see from an angler like me that Harry's technique and precision make a huge difference.
I mean, fly fishing is, to some, it's kind of the evolution of the sport. You started out, you threw bait, that kind of became boring, so you threw lures. Then you saw somebody fly fishing and it looked like there was action.
When we come back, we take the evolution of fly fishing to a whole other level. We'll see how some guides consider indicator nymph fishing for steelhead to be a lowly form of fly fishing, and we'll get an inside look at the hardcore spade casting cult on the Deschutes River in Central Oregon. Next on Adventure Guides Fishing Edition. Welcome back to Adventure Guides Fishing Edition. Today we're exploring two vastly different techniques and fisheries, nymphing on Crowley Lake and spade casting on the Deschutes River. And now a guide tip.
A spey rod is a fly rod. When you talk about spey rods, a lot of modern terminology, we call them double-handed rods. They take two hands, one on the top, one on the bottom, and they're used for casting great distance in very tight quarters. It is just a way to set the line with minimal space behind you, basically using the rod as a fly delivery device. The average rod nowadays ranges anywhere from 12 to 15 feet. 13 feet finds its way about being average.
We'll return to Crowley Lake, but for now, we're headed to the Deschutes River to fish for wild steelhead using spey rods with top Deschutes angler guide Travis Johnson. Arguably one of the best spey casters in the world, Travis joins me and my friend, Pete Belknap, an accomplished nature photographer who has never spey cast before. The Deschutes River is a major tributary of the Columbia River. Located near the small town of Maupin, Oregon, this area is known for its consistently beautiful weather, its resonant red-side rainbows, and for its impressive steelhead run during the fall. While I expected to use the nymphing techniques I've mastered over the years for steelhead, little did I know that I was entering into the temple of spey casting, and that the guides, or should I say disciples, of the Deschutes Angler Fly Shop now had me captive for the day.
27 minutes behind schedule. The difference between nymphing and a swung fly. I would rather off with 50 grit sandpaper than watch a bobber go down the river. Watching a bobber go down the river, not my idea of a good time. It's just kind of how I feel about it.
It's funny because I've nymph fished basically all over the world. No one's ever really taken the time with me to show me how to spey rod cast.
Hop on in there.
No more nymph fishing for Johnny.
You know, we floated this whole entire river. Now you're taking me on this little trail to, like, I guess what you call your A water. It amazes me, like, this is the place you want to take me. You know, I've not done this before, really, so I'm looking forward to having you show me. And I know that you guys don't allow anyone to nymph, so I'm kind of stuck with learning to spay cast.
Oh, you'll do just fine.
All right,
You'll do just fine. Left hand on the bottom, perfect.
The more I try to spay cast, the more I realize that it's not as easy as it looks, and I start to appreciate the art form that Travis has mastered.
A spay rod is a fly rod. And when you talk about spay rods, a lot of modern terminology, we call them double-handed rods. We at the Deschutes Angler kind of specialize in the fact that we use two-handed rods exclusively with all our clients, everything from beginner to expert.
Aside from learning the spay cast, the most fascinating part of this river experience is the species that makes it so famous. When steelhead are in season in the fall, guides from Deschutes anglers are totally focused on getting their clients into one of these prized fish.
When people say steelhead, a lot of people don't know what a steelhead is. All a steelhead is a rainbow trout. With the one difference is it migrates slowly toward the ocean. Then it lives for 2 or 3 years out in the salt, and then it gets the urge to come back and spawn. You know, that's genetic perfection. Even our big river here, we get very few thousand wild fish a year.
I had a steelhead roll
On your
my
fly?
fly, never felt it.
We call that a boil. Whoosh.
It boiled.
And you're kind of tracking your fly, and all of a sudden you go, oh, what just happened? Come on. You moved all that weight and you didn't eat it?
No, what you do is you go, F you fish, come back.
After missing my first fish, I feel a bit of fish greed come over me. I'm dying to switch back to what I know, but I'm too afraid of deviating from Travis and his spay casting dictatorship. The day before learning the beautiful spay cast from Travis, I used the technique that he despises, nymphing with an indicator, but I caught a beautiful steelhead as well as resident rainbow trout. Whereas spay casting with traditional steelhead flies solely targets migratory steelhead that swim up from the ocean, nymphing with a fly rod like this produces steelhead as well as resident fish.
There's one.
During the spring and summer, the guides of Deschutes Angler focus on resident species. Like this rainbow trout they call a red side. However, during the fall months, these guides require their steelhead anglers to swing flies and spay cast, since they consider it to be more sporting and effective. As much as I might like to nymph for steelhead today, I am now in Travis's temple, and spay casting is the gospel.
It's a moment you'll never forget when you take your first steelhead on a swung fly.
Well, hopefully I'll get that opportunity.
Hopefully we're pushing for it, pushing for it.
And if not, I guess I'll have to go back to nymphing. Next up on Adventure Guides, I get to use my nymphs and indicators with guide Harry Blackburn on Crowley Lake. But it's only a brief reprieve.
We'll then return to Travis's spay boot camp to reveal who lands this amazing wild steelhead.
It's a nice fish.
Welcome back to Adventure Guides Fishing Edition. We're back here at beautiful Crowley Lake with top guide Harry Blackburn and ex-NBA basketball player Adam Keefe. Here in the beautiful Mammoth Lakes District in California's Eastern Sierra, the guides of Wilderness Outfitters, managed by Terry Lucien, have perfected an innovative fly fishing technique for trout in lakes.
Fishing in the Eastern Sierra, there's always a place like today, no matter what month it is, there's always a spot somewhere nearby that is fishing good. You can get a full hat trick down there, all 4 species. On Crowley Lake here, we have browns, rainbows, cutthroat. You hooked up? Let me get out of the way.
While some may consider this form of fly fishing to be no more than fishing with a bobber, the reality is this is an incredibly innovative technique that blurs the line between traditional fly fishing and conventional angling. Bottom line, it works. And for an angler like retired pro basketball player Adam Keefe, it's as easy as dunking on a 6-foot rim.
Nice. Good set.
pretty. Look how fat he is.
There he goes.
When it comes to catching trophy rainbows, Harry Blackburn is the midge master.
They will hit. There we go.
How big do they get?
Probably brown trout. Now we didn't have a scale to weigh it, but
Here in this lake?
yeah, about 8 pounds.
So about what, 24?
That fish was about 27 inches long.
They're definitely fiery fish. They really have a lot of spunk.
Oh yeah.
They're known for that, eh?
Those trout, the trout here love to jump, and I mean the environment. They're very healthy, and the cameloops in them. You know, they've got an ancient kind of ancestry to the steelhead, so that's why they come up.
That's a nice fish.
Look at that pig. They're just beautiful fish. They fight well.
Yeah.
Ah,
They're.
it's a nice.
That's the big draw here is the fight. Nice.
Another one.
Nymphing on larger West Coast rivers for trout and steelhead is best performed with a 9-foot 6-weight rod or larger. Patterns used while nymphing typically imitate small crustaceans, immature forms of insects, salmon eggs, or aquatic worms. The most common technique for presenting a nymph or egg pattern is dead drifting, where the angler sets the hook immediately when the indicator moves. While traditional fly fishermen often dismiss this technique as crude, nymphing is highly effective for both trout and steelhead. After saying goodbye to Crowley Lake and putting away the nymphs, we're headed back to Spey Cast with Travis for this gorgeous steelhead. Stay tuned for more of Adventure Guides Fishing Edition coming up next. Welcome back to Adventure Guides Fishing Edition.
We're back here on the Deschutes River near Mountain, Oregon, where I'm getting schooled by hardcore spey casting guide Travis Johnson.
I must say that upon arrival, I was not a believer in spey casting. But as the day progressed, I gained a lot of respect for Travis's traditional approach, using a spey rod to catch wild steelhead. It's also clear that Travis is one of the most driven guides I've ever met.
Well, I grew up in a fishing family. My dad was always a fisherman. And when I was 11 years old, I was watching an episode of Fishing the West with old Larry. They were catching some huge rainbows, and I looked at him right there and I said, Dad, I need to know what's going on here. I'm fishing for, the hope of one fish a day. It's the only way you're gonna get them. Nobody becomes a guide to get rich. You do this because it's a lifestyle. You do this because it's your passion. And any way you can find in your life to be out here every day is what satisfies you. So that's why you're a guide. That's why you're a guide.
So describe the anchor again for me, exactly what the anchor is.
The anchor is just the junction of the line and the leader, the fly line to the leader. Depending on what kind of spey line you use, leaders run anywhere from 36 inches, 30 inches on a sing tip, to the one on this rod here is 20. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, put your rod toward the bank, buddy. Lift that rod up, get some pressure on that fish. We're gonna have to cut out of this. I gotta get down.
Or let's get down there.
Get your rod toward the bank, pressure on the fish. Toward the bank, buddy. This side of you. Well, right now, just keep pressure on the fish. Nice. That right there. If he wants to run, let him run. Let the reel go. There, get the, perfect, perfect, perfect. This is what we're talking about, October Bright. Chromer that comes in October. Rod up just a little bit towards the bank. If he wants to run, this is the part that's hard to achieve, so enjoy, Pete. You've made 50 cash in your steelhead career, got a fish. I know people who fished for 5 years and never hooked one. Right there, that reel costs 650 bucks. Let it work for you. It's not a string holder. Perfect, don't reel in anymore right there. That's what we're talking about. That's an October Bright, buddy, right there. Wild hen showing up late in the season. 6-7 pounds, it's a nice fish. It's your average to shoot steelhead right there.
Nice.
Chrome gal.
You're a good teacher, man.
But this fish took a year to get from its tributary to the ocean. And then along the way it dodged, you know, predatory fish, went over 2 concrete dams, through, you know, birds and seals and all kinds of. It's been to Russia, to the top of Japan, came back over 2 concrete dams through a gauntlet of gill nets and seals and every kind of spoon chucking device you've ever seen. Swam up this river to eat your fly. What do you think about that?
You picked a good fly.
Yeah, well, you know, steelhead are just non-biased. You know, whoever's holding the rod at the right given time, it doesn't matter. They don't care. Could be, you know, some lady, your wife or your grandma. It doesn't really matter. When it's time, whoever's in the right spot's gonna know.
Last time I went fly fishing, 25 years ago. Yeah, I actually came out here not expecting to catch a fish at all. I was just out here to have fun, enjoy the day, enjoy the friendship, beautiful river, and you know, fortunately I had a good guide, told me all the things to do.
Watching Pete, or any angler, bring in a beautiful wild steelhead is truly an honor to witness. I am inspired by Travis's unparalleled passion for the sport, the species, and the spay cast. While we had some good-spirited fun debating methodologies, the fact is we are all connected by our mutual love of the river and the knowledge that these delicate fisheries need our collective protection for generations to come.
Thanks a lot for fishing with us.
Thank you.
And Travis,
Travis,
that was awesome. And thanks to Pete's fish there at the end of the day, you saved the day. I mean, they call steelhead fishing the fish of 1,000 casts.
Yep.
And I guess next time I won't bring my nipping rod.
No difference.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot. Hey, we'll see you next time on Adventure Guides Fishing Edition.
Each week, Adventure Guides travels the globe in search of the world's best outfitters. To find out more about Adventure Guides, go to www.outdoorchannel.com